This video is long, so I'm not going to waste any time. Let's just get down to it. Here's the table of contents. The hint of what this game actually is in the name itself. It was never Metal Gear Solid 5. It's always been Metal Gear Solid V.
ここでのチコとパスの関係とかスネークとカズの関係っていうのとこの「ヒアズツヌ」曲の歌詞映画の中で出てきた「サッコとバンデッティ」に重ね合わせてみると結構、いろいろ分かることがあると思います。で、歌詞の中に「トライアンフ」っていうビクトリーですけどそれもこの MGS ファイルの V にちょっとかけてるのであんまり言うと面白くないですけどいろんな意味でこの曲をずっと使いたかったんで、ここで使わせてもらってます。V for victory!
My husband's out late.
Victory.
V has come too.
Rutherford unperson. Substitute Ogilvy.
And I ask only for you to accept my love of our leader.
Members of Ways and Means Committees, please attend their local community centers for direct contact with the enemy. The meetings begin at 2000 hours.
What's common between 1984, Moby Dick, and Lord of the Flies? Leaders manipulating their people.
You're a thought criminal.
Like a beehive.
But if your goal is to control society, it's the better model to use.
Ingsoc is all about changing facts into distant memories or dreams, changing them into memories that you're not sure ever even happened. It's about gaslighting a population, not trusting your senses and your memories, and to buy what Big Brother is telling you. Winston is not even sure of the year, let alone who Oceania is at war with at any given moment.
Chico used to cross the mountains with the older Sandinistas like it was nothing. He'll make that in 3 days.
Can't have much left in him. I give him 3 days, tops. Something's coming. There were 3.
Peace day never came. Every morning I wake up expecting it to come, but it is always 3 days away. That cannot be it. I have not woken up at all. It is just a dream. It is all a dream. I am in it, and you are in it too. I am the dreamer, but you are having my dream. Do you get it now?
So I told myself, the pain and effort that keep me alive will never know relief, never bear fruit, never be repaid. I know that, but I told myself to focus on some hope, a non-existent hope, to guide me through this burning world. A hope. Call it a dream. A melancholic illusion.
I have not woken up at all. It is just a dream. It is all a dream.
America's never been made up of just one.
But he tried to forge a single consciousness for it and from it. The idea that every citizen will use free will to unite behind their country. Unilateralism like that can't be entrusted to anyone.
Stop. Open your eyes, man. We're not whalers anymore. We're sheep. We're sheep following a madman, wandering from all mortal reason.
America's never been made up of just one.
But he tried to forge a single consciousness for it and from it. The idea that every citizen would use free will to unite behind their country.
It's called the Patriots.
It's all about ensuring that the concepts driving society appears the same in the mind of each person in that society, about maintaining the identity of the individual, and yet having that individual willingly make up part of the whole. I guess it's fitting to call that patriotism, creating a united world.
Human memories, ideas, culture, history.
Genes don't contain any record of human history.
Is it something that should not be passed on? Should that information be left at the mercy of nature?
We've always kept records of our lives, through words, pictures, symbols, from tablets to books.
But not all the information was inherited by later generations. A small percentage of the whole was selected and processed, then passed on. Not unlike genes, really.
That's what history is, Jack.
But in the current digitized world, trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible.
Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander.
All this junk data, preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate.
It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution.
Right. You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
Create context?
Unilateralism like that can't be entrusted to any one individual. So the Major sought a system that used information.
That's why we must depend on information control. People need an appropriate context for their lives. A context that's stimulating without being destructive. If we're to unite the world, literacy must be suppressed. To suppress the information immune system, to borrow your metaphor. That balance is the basis of equilibrium.
You mean to say people will blindly accept your context without developing any allergies? Immunity to information.
What is it, Ishmael?
I don't know, sir. I have such a feeling of dread. What's gotten into this crew? They've lost their wits, sir. It's as if they cannot think.
They cannot see his madness.
9 years ago, this man acted as accomplice to the attack on Mother Base.
Right before the attack, Huey was in the control tower to prepare for the inspectors. He was with them when it all went down. The control tower collapsed with the rest of it strut. His body was never recovered. But he was the one who met the inspection party when they arrived. And he was the one who showed the nuclear inspectors to the tower. You remember the way it went. First he recommends we agree to the inspection. Then he gives them the okay without our permission. All the time acting as if he was doing us a favor. On top of that, he even had the guards disarmed that day. It would send the wrong message, he said. Whatever the angle, it all leads back to Huey.
The burden of proof is on the prosecution. They can prove that Mother Base was destroyed and people murdered. But proving Huey was an accomplice, they have to prove intent. This is a hard thing to prove without an eyewitness testimony or a recorded conversation, or even a journal of him clearly stating his intent. All it causes evidence is circumstantial. The calling of the inspection, meeting of the inspection team, the calling away of guards. The only thing Huey is guilty of here is being naive.
I gotta say, I'm surprised you helped us arm Metal Gear with nukes.
What of it?
Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful and all, but you sure about this?
Feeling that you wouldn't be stupid enough to use them. Okay, I'll come out and say it. I trust you.
You give me too much credit.
You think so? Did you, give that letter to Dr. Strangelove?
No.
So you read the letter, after I specifically told you not to.
What do you expect people to do when you tell them not to read something?
I thought I knew you, Snake. I thought I could trust you. But now I see I was wrong.
Look, I'm sorry, but I just don't get what you see in her.
Well, I wouldn't expect a barbarian who opens other people's private correspondence to understand.
So yeah, he's naive.
So the truth is, You took it upon yourself to agree to an inspection arranged by the UN. Only the inspection was a ruse, and Cypher's strike force, XOF, showed up instead.
I had no idea that would happen.
Enough bullshit!
Oh, sure, like I could have known. You know, I was just trying to prove our innocence to the world. What's wrong with that?
We're not interested in the excuses you've thought up. The truth is objective.
Just see it from my point of view.
You led XOF to the control tower. They seized it, giving them complete control over the base. Moments later, they detonated C4 on the strut legs. Anyone who'd managed to survive was hunted down by the assault force and their choppers.
You can't believe I did that on purpose.
That was the end of Mother Base. But it wasn't the end for you.
How can you... Look, think about it.
Ocelot says that Huey led XOF to the control tower, at which point they detonated C4 and strut legs. So we have approximately 30 XOF guys estimated by the 4 helicopters we see. So 30 guys took out a force of 10 times the size. But my question is, how did they plant all the C4 without anyone noticing it?
While you were gone, XOF, posing as a nuclear inspection team, stormed Mother Base. At the same time, C4 they placed on the strut legs went off. The whole thing went down in minutes. That raises the big questions. Why were you the only one spared? You got away without a scratch.
Why would they hurt him? He's useful and not a threat.
Why did Strangelove leave the base on the eve of the inspection? You two were close.
Strangelove?
All civilians save Huey will have to return to their countries. Even your Parisian. Of course, we'll get her whatever paper she needs.
And how did you manage to build something that surpasses Zeke in every way? Because you did everything they told you. You're the only one who didn't lose a thing. That is the truth.
I was taken away against my will. Skullface forced me to do his research these past 9 years. He used me. I lost 9 years.
9 years. We all lost 9 years. It wasn't just you.
I suppose blaming me makes you feel better, does it? But who's gonna give me back all the time I lost?
You're not getting anything back. You're not a victim here, Emmerich. You're the perpetrator.
I didn't know anything.
Nobody can back that up. Yeah, all the evidence is at the bottom of the ocean.
He then provided support to Skullface.
I'm not going to dispute this charge. He provided a use for the only reason his captors were keeping him alive.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ.
Cypher threatened to kill me. Made me do research for them here.
Conspiring with Eli, he repaired Sahelanthropus in secret.
This is a bogus claim.
What was your goal in having the children repair Sahelanthropus?
I just answered their questions. I had no idea they would actually try to fix it. I mean, can you imagine a child piloting it?
Oh, sure, easily.
It wouldn't work.
Well, I bet it's just like riding a bike.
I said it didn't work. Originally, Sahelanthropus was going to be a manned weapons platform. I designed a cockpit in its head, and I planned to fill it with water as a buffering agent.
Like how Paz modified Zeke for human control.
Don't compare me to some amateur. I designed it for human control from the beginning. The problem was miniaturizing the posture control AI. You remember the reptile pod?
The AI that controlled your unmanned weapons.
Attaching it externally makes it vulnerable, so this time I wanted it beneath the armor. Meaning I had to make the AI smaller. I got it down to less than 1/10 the size without any loss in computation speed. But it was still too big for the cockpit. There wasn't enough room for the pilot. If I made the head bigger, its body would have to be bigger to support it. Too big to be practical. In the end, human piloting was taken off the table. I tested a remote control system too, but there was the time lag and I wasn't satisfied with its precision either. Plus, it would be useless if the enemy jammed it. So next, I went back to trying an AI-only system. To do that, I had the AI pods recovered from Nicaragua. This was a hybrid AI, a combination of Peace Walker's reptile and mammal pods. The only AIs that had ever successfully operated an unmanned nuclear weapon system.
Really? You'd need some help to get that working. Expert help. Did you work with someone?
I worked alone.
You did that yourself?
That's the thing. The AI didn't pan out in the end either.
Who did you try?
I didn't.
Did you put your son in it?
We never did that.
His name was, Hal, wasn't it? I thought you said you never saw his face. But you made him pilot Sahelanthropus. You used him in your experiments.
He wanted to get in. It was such a short time we had.
So he was with you.
We were happy.
You're still happy now.
To speak on Huey's lies about Strangelove and Hal, Diamond Dogs actively wish to harm Huey any way they can. If I were him, I wouldn't tell them anything about them.
There's only two problems with this accusation. It wasn't broken in the first place, it was just unfinished. Like Huey says, it didn't work.
Looking back on it, a lot of things make sense now. The man on fire, Sahelanthropus, they both came to life thanks to the third boy's powers. He controlled Sahelanthropus, making it do whatever Skullface wanted.
The other problem is...
I want to thank you. I don't need gratitude. I need security. Keep Emmerich away from that thing. Roger that.
His research materials caused the leak at the quarantine facility, which in turn caused the Walbachia mutation, letting the parasites off their chains. We lost a lot of good men.
How is Huey getting from a research and development platform all the way over to a quarantine platform, which is not even a part of Mother Base proper?
Emmerich uses externally powered legs of his own design. It's bionics technology, a product of the U.S. military's failed attempt to develop a powered exoskeleton. The legs are a nifty little gadget, but they have two clear weaknesses. First, they're dependent on external power, maybe because he built them knowing he couldn't leave his lab. There's no internal battery. That's why they won't work if they aren't plugged in.
Don't tell anyone he's here.
We'll have him continue his research in there. It's for his own good. The older guys will want his head. We can't guarantee his safety if we let him out.
Left its seeds while I was sleeping.
So now you're saying I sabotaged medical equipment for some wild plan to make the vocal cord parasite kill everyone?
Or maybe you thought it'd reveal a way to treat the parasite without using the Walbachia. With that much to barter, I suppose some people would welcome even a pathetic cur like you.
Just stop it!
You'd have no shortage of buyers, but most would be happy with just the parasite. You wouldn't need to offer anything else. However, if that buyer already knew about the parasite, they'd also know that by itself, it's no longer the ultimate bargaining chip it once was. To sell to that buyer, you need to throw in a bonus. A way to one-up it. There's only one buyer who'd be after that.
Emmerich, we record all communications on Mother Base. That includes radio transmissions to and from homemade devices. You've been in frequent contact with people in America. A private biotech company. A client of which is DARPA. And they are connected to Cypher. You made a deal with Cypher.
Okay, I can't listen to their projecting asses any further. We record all communication on Mother Base. Okay, well, where is it then? Where is this dialogue between Huey and Cypher, or proxies? Where is it? Some sort of evidence that proves that Huey actually was in on this. You say you record everything.
Why do you suspect me? What did I do? I'm on your side.
What about him?
The whole time she was working for some organization called Cypher.
Huh. Cypher. Ring any bells, Kaz?
Cypher. It means code, or zero in Arabic numerals.
Zero.
Does that mean something to you?
Not sure.
That's funny. Miller acting like he hasn't known since the beginning of Peace Walker.
Zero. A world of electronic intelligence, built on codes. And at the center of it all, a zero. Kaz. Look, boss. I owe you an apology. Hear me out, okay? Sure. I knew Puss and the Professor. I knew who they really were all along. Kaz. I used them. I suppose you were the one that brought them to Columbia in the first place, huh? Guilty as charged. Puss wasn't just CIA, you know. She was working for the KGB, too. And for this Cypher group. In other words, she was a triple agent. You knew all of this?
Miller was in contact with Cypher 9 years ago. He was working with them.
Like I said before, I'm neither an enemy nor an ally. I'm merely a business partner. Don't forget it. Yes, I'll be in touch. My dear Zero.
He's the traitor, Snake!
You feel it too, don't you? I'm the one who got caught up with Cypher. A group above nations, even the US. And I was the parasite below, feeding off Zero's power. Cypher is still out there. We know they've planted spies, parasites among us.
When I first started dealing with Zero, with Cypher, it was a somewhat parasitic relationship, though a mutually beneficial one. Cypher had no army of their own, so they wanted us. They wanted our strength.
What's that? More truth serum?
No. Stronger truth
Oh, please. Please keep me here. I need protection. Ah! Ah! Oh. Oh.
Oh, it turns out you don't record everything.
What's he saying?
Same as 6 hours ago. I had no idea the nuclear inspection 9 years ago was a ruse. Cypher forced me to do that research after the attack.
Do you think he had a hand in it?
I do. But there's no proof yet. Take a listen to this later.
We need proof before we can pass judgment.
Well, Doctor, I have the report on the incident at the quarantine facility. Assuming the vocal cord parasite underwent a mutation. The only plausible explanations are exposure to some high-concentration mutagen, or radiation. As you know, some of the staff at the quarantine facility were infected with the parasites. The Wolbachia prevented them from copulating, but the parasites themselves can't be removed from their host's vocal cords. Once you're infected with Skullface's parting gift, you're stuck with it. The researchers regularly used X-ray equipment to monitor the parasites in their throats. No problem there, they kept a close eye on the radiation doses. But that equipment didn't just give off X-rays. It was also emitting beta rays. Even though that's unnecessary for the scans. See, beta rays have far worse effects on DNA than X-rays. Meaning the only logical conclusion is that someone added in a beta ray emitter to trigger a mutation. Those beta rays leaked out from inside the equipment. Because the emitter was retrofitted, the shielding was inadequate. And the person who ordered and inspected the equipment was you, Doctor.
We still need him alive, but we have to restrict his movements. He can only go where we tell him. And of course, the interrogations will continue.
That makes you the only person with the opportunity to install that emitter. But to think that mutations occurred in both the Walbachia and its parasite hosts.
Your observation is most apt. Both mutations occurring at once indicates the presence of a powerful mutagen.
I see. Keep working on narrowing down what it was.
All you need to do is tell me what I want. How to prevent the vocal cord parasite symptoms. Now.
Stop!
We're out of time. I have to get going. Well...
No!
Radiation. It's radiation.
Meaning the only logical conclusion is that someone added in a beta ray emitter to trigger a mutation. That makes you the only person with the opportunity to install that emitter.
Radiation, of course. So it can be used.
But how much? I do not know.
Radiation denatures their reproductive cells, preventing them from mating.
Same principle as the sterilization technique. The reproductive cells are more sensitive to radiation than the rest of the body. But I have not tested it. There is no telling what mutation could result, or how the host may be affected. Not to mention what could happen if this is done post-infection.
I don't care. This plan goes into action now.
Indicates the presence of a powerful mutagen.
Keep working on narrowing down what it was.
He also stands accused of murdering one of his own family. Hiding the body.
So far, we haven't even seen Huey stand up to a woman. Then even come close to murdering one.
Fine then. Deliver it yourself.
Huh? What? No way. I could never...
You know, that ID card I got from Huey wouldn't let me into the lab.
Of course not. I deactivated it.
Why?
As though I'd let him into my lab.
Oh, you don't seem to care for him much, even though you two are in the same field.
Oh, please. For starters, I can't stand that wishy-washy attitude of his. If he's got something to say to me, he should be a man and come say it in person, not write some furtive letter.
But if his card doesn't work, how's he supposed to...
And another thing, the way he always demeans himself. Every other sentence begins with, I could be wrong, but... Why can't he just do what he does and be confident about it?
Well, there was the thing about his dissertation being plagiarized.
The real problem is he doesn't have a whit of independence in him. In Costa Rica, and even back at NASA, he was always following people around, asking if there was some way he could help. Why doesn't he stop his whining, take a stand, and face up to me?
I think I know how he feels.
And to top it all off, he seems to enjoy referring to himself by that nickname I gave him. I simply don't get it. How can he be so submissive?
So, Huey was a nickname you gave him.
That's right. I took it from the name of a drone in the science fiction film Silent Running.
Drone?
It's a type of worker robot. The way he follows people, just waiting for them to boss him around, is so similar. I couldn't help myself.
Even Strangelove says that Huey can be pushed around easy.
I haven't killed anyone. The rest is all wrong, too. The inspection was supposed to help everyone. I sacrificed myself for my companions just as much as any of you. Why won't you believe me?
The prosecution calls a witness. Strangelove's gravestone. haunted by her phantom.
It's just a machine.
Huey! Damn it, Huey! Open it now! Please! Let me out! Kill me!
It recorded it all. Everything. Everything you did living together.
How could a machine...
Remember that water tank-shaped object in Emmerich's lab in the Soviet base camp? The thing that started talking to you like a possessed answering machine.
It's not you, is it?
Hey! It's just a machine.
Is that you?
I call it the mammal pod.
Mammal pod?
That one was called the Mammal Pod, and it was created by Dr. Strangelove. She tried to recreate the boss's personality through the Mammal Pod, but you pulled out its memory boards.
These calculation problems can lead to instability, crashes, errors, and data corruption. If this was a human witness, would you call them an unreliable witness? Because that woman wouldn't have the ability to think properly. A fragmented mind, if you will. Calculation errors can be a vulnerability to hacking.
I is equal to 3.2546373698888.
Don't let it deceive you, Snake. It may sound like the boss, but it has neither a personality nor a will. Like Emmerich says, it's just a machine.
Open this thing! Huey! Damn it, Huey! Open it now! Please! Let me out! Kill me. Kill me!
If only I'd tried to get out sooner. Perhaps I'd have made it. Why didn't I stop the hatch from closing? Even if it meant losing an arm.
Why would Strangelove say kill me in this weird robotic-like voice?
Don't let it deceive you, Snake.
Kill me. Kill me now.
It's an AI.
Why not kill the snake? Your mission is to get rid of it. Is this what you call loyalty?
Kill me. Kill me now. Do it. Kill me.
Kill me. Let me out! Kill me. Kill me!
As we can see, just because the AI talks with the human voice doesn't mean it's a pre-existing recording. Strangelove alludes to this.
That singing monster of yours put me through hell. If I never meet one again, it'll be too soon.
Shame. And I was about to let an AI take my place in our conversation.
Don't even think about it.
Fine. Yes, Strangelove was doing AI research in that lab.
Why hide that until now?
Why? Okay, so what? I wasn't working alone. You've got to understand. You do understand, right? I didn't want to drag her into this. It's my load to bear, alone.
So you didn't create the AI intended to drive Sahelanthropus. It was Strangelove.
Skullface was never in favor of AI control. So naturally they argued. Strangelove, she got him angry, and he killed her.
How? You didn't see it? So you found her inside that pod after the fact. And you just left her body to rot in there. Or perhaps you put her in there afterward.
I asked him not to take her away from me.
So she was killed by Skullface, but you asked nicely, and he put her body in the AI pod for you?
That's right.
Huey keeps changing the story here, which is suspicious. But consider the fact that Huey's been tortured, and he's under a lot of stress. Or maybe Huey did kill Strangelove. What is his motive, though? To get Hal? Huey was both under Skullface's thumb and Diamond Dog's. Huey doesn't have Hal. What's the motive?
You know, we have another idea. That you killed her.
What, me? I couldn't kill her.
You killed her and locked her body in the pod.
I wouldn't. Don't treat me like one of you. I can't just kill anyone whenever I feel like it. I'm a normal human being.
Oh, I see. So you just shut her inside and waited for her to die.
I would never do that.
What, you mean she killed herself?
Yes. She climbed inside that pod and shut the door. It can't be opened from the outside. It was suicide. Suicide, I said. She killed herself. She got in when I wasn't looking and suffocated. She'd often try to do things like that. By the time I realized and opened the door, she wasn't breathing. I got scared and shut the pod again. I couldn't bring myself to open it back up. That's right.
So can a door be opened or can it? Is Huey leaving out details like it took a while for him to get back into it? Or did he hack into it? Did he blow the hatch? Why exactly is there no way to open the pod from the inside or out? This doesn't make any sense.
Wait. Jack. Jack. Oh, it's opening. She's calling to you.
Destroy the mammal pod and the data will stop flowing.
Please, stop her.
If the ghost of the boss is still in the machine, why doesn't she open the hatch for her creator? If the ghost isn't in the machine AI, how does this tape of Strangelove suffocating even exist?
But you can hear me, can't you, Joy? I know you can. You're recording all of this. Deep down, in some memory board he'll never find.
Suicide, I said. She killed herself.
Well, what about yourself? You make these claims, and yet I've never seen you empathize with a real person.
It's true. Until now, I was a prisoner of death. It was my intention to die upon the completion of Mammal's development. She was my one reason to live.
But you changed your mind.
I did. Because she taught me the dignity of living. My eyes are open now. I want to go on living and seeing real people.
Huh. I see.
You forced your own son into the cockpit of a Metal Gear, a test subject.
Hal.
His mother had to hide him away, and for that you locked her in that coffin.
No! She did it herself! It was suicide! And even if I did, what right do you have?
There's more. We have you to tell us everything you've done, everything you've thought. All this time. 9 years ago, you agreed to the inspection in return for Cypher's guarantee that you'd be spared.
I thought it was real!
We've reviewed into everything else that's happened since you arrived here.
Please.
Guilty! All counts. We exist outside the law. What should we do, boss? Just give the order. We'll handle the rest.
Prepare a life raft. Big enough for one. Food and water, too.
Boss,
He's leaving.
he's responsible for all of this!
How do I prove that Huey didn't kill Strangelove? Well, let me use an example. Snake believes in Santa Claus.
He's real, I tell ya. He used to bring me presents and...
If I were to ask you to disprove Snake, you might say, it's a children's story, and it's actually the boss who's buying you presents, Snake. This doesn't really disprove Santa Claus, though. Maybe Snake's just been a bad boy. We can only prove things that there is actually evidence for. What doesn't exist doesn't leave behind evidence. The onus is on Snake to prove Santa. The same is true for the trial of Huey. They need to prove his guilt. Have they proved that he's guilty? As we seen earlier, these tapes are provided by an untrustworthy source. So why are we trusting them? We're even taking their word for having a body. How do we know she's even actually dead?
We need proof before we can pass judgment.
I didn't know anything.
Nobody can back that up.
Yeah, all the evidence is at the bottom of the ocean.
What do you think? Is there enough evidence for you to think that Huey's guilty? And of what charges? Well, hold on a second. Hear my argument first. Here's what I think happened. Who stands to gain from scapegoating Huey? Who has been dishonest and has worked with Cypher before? Who has tried shifting blame before?
Boss, we figured out who that enemy commander was. He was on the staff at Mother Base 9 years back.
I prefer a cigar over mosquitoes.
Despite surviving the attack, he broke off from us and spent his years terrified that a cleanup squad would come after him. The isolation screwed with his sense of loyalty. A rumor, source unknown, had him convinced that the attack 9 years ago was orchestrated by you yourself. The big boss sold out his comrades to hide from the world. He thought that's why you weren't at the base that day. He was so desperate to take us down, he built up his own PF, copying us in every way. His idea of the perfect revenge. But in the end, he was just a victim of disinformation.
So Miller says that Mosquito is a victim of disinformation. But what if Miller saying this is actually the disinformation?
Immediate disinformation campaign. Most bought into the story, but not everyone. It was quite an incident, after all. I couldn't cover everything.
Which scenario sounds more likely? 30 XOF troops versus 300? Meanwhile, XOF has a hard job of placing C4 on all the legs without boats or harnesses? Or that Mosquito was right and Big Boss, or possibly Miller, had a group of men to do the job? Is it just me, or does this look like a Mother Base soldier?
Spit it out. But... Spit it out.
Find and extract the missing CIA agent. The target was laying low with the friendly Mujahideen during the vocal cord parasites incident. The man headed back to OKB-0 after the Soviets recaptured it. Check the target's VI on your iDroid. Boss, the target filled us in on what's been going on. He betrayed the Soviets, passing information to Langley, but got scared after learning XOF used the vocal cord parasites. Then came feelings of guilt that his leak sent comrades to their deaths, and fear that America might deploy such a weapon itself. But in reality, XOF and Langley don't have a collaborative relationship, and Skullface was not working for America. Still, I can't blame the man for being afraid. After laying low with the Mujahideen, he tried to cut his ties with the US and return to the Soviet military. But along the way, someone came after him, and he was forced back into hiding. Could have been remnants of XOF looking to silence him.
If he's with the group that took over the North Observation Post, he can't be a Soviet. The only thing that comes to mind is remnants of XOF. Wait, could they be out to silence the target?
And you know the rest. He doesn't seem to know much about the parasites, but nevertheless, it'd be too dangerous to hand him over to Langley or the Soviets. We'll keep him here as originally planned. Those men hunting for the target were Soviet troops who were colluding with the XOF. After securing the North Observation Post and learning the target's location, XOF sent assassins to eliminate him. Skullface had turned XOF into his personal army, but the organization continues to exist even after his death. According to the man you extracted, their orders came through the same channel as always. But is Zero really able to give orders in his current state? Or is somebody else calling the shots for XOF? For Cypher? What the hell?
So someone is still running XOF after Skullface's quote-unquote death. The soldier says he's a Soviet. You're told he's an XOF, but he looks like an MSF soldier.
I always thought our men were a bit more noble-minded, but... Look, I understand this is a stressful line of work, but to make her the scapegoat...
You've got it wrong. Quiet? She's with Cypher. We have men that lost their buddies to her organization.
You could say that about more than just her. Plenty of the men used to fight for another side, but they've all put that aside to work for the boss.
Cypher is different. And if you ask me, the boss is the biggest problem. Why is he protecting her? Some of the guys are starting to suspect him of... I don't agree with keeping her. To suspect him of...
You asked me once, Winston, what was in room 101. I told you that you knew already. Everyone knows. The thing that is in room 101 is the worst thing in the world. It goes beyond fear of pain or of death. It is unendurable, and it varies from individual to individual. It may be burial alive, or castration, or many other things. In your case, it is
legs of his. I'd bet that is what the doctor fears the most.
Okay, B-Zero. Sahelanthropus is beyond the Soviet base camp, in a lab built by the Soviet philosophers. That's what you're looking for.
Boss, Emmerich confessed. Skullface's endgame is to activate the bipedal walking tank Sahelanthropus and deploy it into live combat in Afghanistan. That's why he moved into the Soviet research facility they call OKB-0.
Diamond Dogs are not using torture to get to the truth. They are using torture as a means to an end.
I know more than anyone about OKB-0 and Sahelanthropus. Boss, I've made up my mind. I want to be of use to you, not him. Let me work to pay for what I've done. I'll prove it, that I've always been your ally.
Good work. 2 more gates to go.
Still all quiet at the silo. No sign of Skullface or his Goliath.
Surely they can't already have... No, never mind.
All right, you're through the second gate. Only 1 gate left. From here on in, you're in the enemy's headquarters.
Something's wrong. But it has to be here.
Huey says Sahelanthropus has to be here, but it isn't. Sahel was in the cave by the power plant. Venom and the player have even seen it before, at the cave. Why don't we believe our own senses? Why do we believe the narrative?
The experiment you'll be taking part in today involves the perception of lengths of lines. As you can see here, I have a number of cards, and on each card there are several lines. Your task is a very simple one. You're to look at the line on the left and determine which of the 3 lines on the right is equal to it in length. All right, we'll proceed in this order. You'll give your answer.
Only one of the people in the group is a real subject, the 5th person with the white t-shirt. The others are confederates of the experimenter and have been told to give wrong answers on some of the trials. The experiment begins uneventfully as subjects give their judgments.
2. 2. 2. 2.
2.
3. 3. 3. 3.
But on the 3rd trial, something happens.
2. 2. 2. 2. 2.
The subject denies the evidence of his own eyes and yields to group influence. Ash found subjects went along with the group on 37% of the critical trials. But he found through interviews that they went along with the group for different reasons.
1. 1. They must be right. There are 4 of them and 1 of me. 1.
This subject's yielding is based on a distortion of his judgment. He genuinely believes that the group is correct.
1. 1. 1. 2.
And that's for something obvious. There are people who say this game's unfinished. But Kojima himself said this is bogus. Kojima purposely gave this game a blank space, as he puts it. To quote the novelization of MGSV, in MGSV we hand the story, the legend, to the player.
Legend? A legend is nothing but fiction. Someone tells it, someone else remembers, everybody passes it on.
I want the player to create his own story. At the end of the novelization, it hints the following. Language remains even if existence vanishes. I believe this to mean that language is the key to interpreting this game. And I don't mean looking into foreign languages and finding more meaning there, although there could be something there. I mean in the way that the English language can be open to more interpretation, through tone, emphasis, and contextual meaning.
What is our legacy if we cannot pass the torch? Proof of our existence, a mark of some sort. All I want is to be remembered by other people, by history. The Patriots are trying to protect their power, their own interests, by controlling the digital flow of information. I want my memory, my existence to remain. Unlike an intron of history, I will be remembered as an exon. That will be my legacy, my mark in history.
I'll be somewhere even you can't find me. A tombstone chiseled into the code of a machine. That is all I leave to mark my existence.
Yes, that's right. You see a skull face. You see me. This skull is who I am. My mark, my proof of humanity.
There's nothing to prove that Chico ever lived at all. We're his mark on the world.
That which you call self serves as nothing more than a mask to cover your own being.
Boss, why keep it? It's a mark. Us diamond dogs, we don't have a country to call home. That means we have no past, nothing to prove that we lived. Every one of us threw it all away when we came here. Sahelanthropus is a symbol to show that the likes of us brought at least one crisis to its end.
A mark in history. So we can't just fade away.
It's of no practical use to us. But we still need it.
A symbol of what we've done. I'm glad I sounded you out on this. Snake, on behalf of all of us, I want to thank you.
I don't need gratitude. I need security. Keep Emmerich away from that thing.
Roger that.
Listen, don't obsess over words so much. Find the meaning behind the words, then decide.
In a world, it's doublethink. In this year, 2 + 2 = 5.
I don't have any family. No. Wait. There was a man who said he was my father.
Where is he?
Dead. By my own hand. Big Boss.
What? Big Boss? I had no idea.
There was no way you could. It happened in Zanzibar 6 years ago. Only Snake and I know the real truth of what happened there.
I've gone through VR training of the tanker mission before.
Yeah? Well, I doubt it accurately simulates the events of that mission. VR, huh?
But realistic in every way.
A virtual grunt of the digital age, that's just great.
There's pain sensation in VR and even a sense of reality and urgency. The only difference is it isn't actually happening.
Infiltrate the enemy fortress, Outer Heaven. Destroy the final weapon, Metal Gear.
War is a video game. What better way to raise the ultimate soldier?
Variety level 13. Rescue Metal, the return of Ginola.
Or is it one of the S3 plan's proud achievements?
What are you talking about?
Your role, that is, mission, is to infiltrate the structure and disarm the terrorists.
My role? Why do you keep saying that?
Under certain conditions, someone can be made to play a specific role.
Your name is Ahab.
Act like someone else.
It's in there! It's him! You don't see him! There! I see him, Captain! I see him! I see him too, Captain! Clear as day! Where is he, sir? I don't see him! Of course you don't, lad! He ain't there! The old man's blasted all reason straight out of their heads!
Been watching over you for 9 years. You can call me Ishmael. What the hell is going on?
Why not? This is a type of role-playing game. The point is that you play out your part, and I expect you to turn in a perfect performance.
Colonel, I just remembered something.
What?
That I've never met you in person. Not once.
Complete your mission, according to the simulation.
He doesn't exist in any database. He's a non-existent operative from a non-existent organization. Wake him up. This situation, I find it very nostalgic.
Where am I?
Why, inside Arsenal Gear, of course. Actually, we're also inside the memory of Shadow Moses. The Patriots. No, they're proxies. In order to bury us. They did it again.
In the end, they're no more than a program. Oh, all they can do is repeat the same pattern over and over again.
Just a minute. This isn't what we agreed on.
It's too late. The changes have already been finalized.
Just a minute. This isn't what we agreed on.
The changes have already been finalized.
Guess I'll just have to take your legs for myself.
I'm taking your legs back!
Warning, there's spoilers here for Silent Hill 2. In a previous video, I touched on the Silent Hill connections. What does this other Konami game that came out the same year as MGS2 have anything to do with anything? Themes. In Silent Hill 2, there were hints to the themes of the game in the very beginning. This mirror scene hinted at the very nature of the game. The player just didn't understand what these things meant yet.
Are you okay?
Angela is a character who has been sexually and mentally abused by her family. Suffering this abuse manifests in some pretty obvious ways that I don't think I need to explain.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, I'm James.
Angela.
Angela, okay. I don't know what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really? But you're the same as me. It's easier just to run. Besides, it's what we deserve.
Oh my God!
These are bad for you, you know.
Mary is James's wife, who he cheated on while she was terminally ill. James is being tortured by the town of Silent Hills for both cheating and murdering his ill wife. Silent Hills 2 shows James's guilt through sexually suggestive monsters, and accusation lines from characters that suggest they know more than actually they logically should.
You're only after one thing!
No, that's not true at all.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead and say it! Or you could just force me. Beat me up like you always did. You only care about yourself anyway. You disgusting pig.
Angela's version of the town looks familiar.
You said your wife Mary was dead, right?
Yes, she was ill.
Liar! I know about you. You didn't want her around anymore. You probably found someone else.
James's guilt is a constant theme in this game. This parallels Chico's guilt over Paz's death. In Silent Hills, James finds a woman that looks exactly like his wife. Only she's dressed differently, and she acts more, promiscuous.
See? Feel how warm I am? So, the hotel was your special place, huh? I'll bet it was.
Mary? No, you're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
No, my late wife. I can't believe it. You could be her twin. Your face, your voice, just your hair and clothes are different.
My name is Maria. I don't look like a ghost, do I?
Snake?
Paz.
I look like Mary, don't I? You loved her, right?
Symbolism. What does the butterfly mean? The butterfly means multiple things in MGS. I think the important ones are
depth perception,
change, and most importantly, rebirth.
How Peace Walker carried out the boss's will in the end. No mere machine could ever choose to sacrifice itself like that.
I just can't see how a bunch of circuits and switches could have a will of its own.
It's called the ghost in the machine, Snake. And it exists.
This is my baby, my morpho butterfly. It's neither pupa nor cocoon, but an imago. A complete individual in the fullest sense of the word.
Is someone there?
Boss.
Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real.
Watch the man to your left. To your right. Assume nothing. Report everything. It's the only way to protect ourselves. From here on out,
Eyes on Kazuhira. Message from the parasites.
you will be my eyes.
They do something to your eyes? No, it's just bright as all. Feast on the host lungs, killing it.
Finish her.
The way they moved was just insane. And that mist, appearing out of nowhere. The Soviets don't have tech like that.
If they did, Ocelot would have heard about it.
I doubt the West does either. Otherwise, the folks at Langley would be sleeping a lot easier.
Skulls, I can't believe you took those things out. Now you just have to extract the target.
Go quieter down.
Is this game really set in 1984?
So, is he the real big boss or a stand-in? What does that mean to him? Nothing. The human brain is capable of many illusions. Of pain, of the future.
A railgun, you said?
Yeah. It uses magnets to fire bullets at extremely high velocities. The technology was originally developed for the SDI system and later scrapped. We were successful in miniaturizing it in a joint venture between Arms Tech and Rivermore National Labs.
Use that bike. It's tuned up and ready to go. I'll handle the rest. Here. That's your name as of today.
After Kojima left Konami, and Konami started teasing its new game, Metal Gear Survive, Hideo Kojima had this to say about it. The Metal Gear games are about political fiction and espionage. Where do zombies fit in with that? There's one issue with that, though.
It's the Mist unit. The Skulls. What's he doing to that soldier?
Eyes on Kazuhira.
I think Kojima is telling the truth here. This isn't a zombie after all.
Sons of the Patriots was only the beginning. The Patriots were planning to use nanomachines to implement the system over the entire population.
It has been a long time, Snake. Within the next 10 minutes, I get 2 free nanobots.
Nano's got me where I am today. You guys better take your vitamins.
What if this game has been entirely in the mind of Venom, in the actual years sometime post-MGS2?
まあちょっとアイドロイドはあれですね、この時代にはなかったですけど、まああの時代のサイファイ映画のホログラムっぽいものにしました。
I did not choose to be quiet. I wanted to express my feelings to you.
まあちょっとアイドロイドはあれですね、この時代にはなかったです。
Venom is using this iDroid much like a modern cell phone. Venom never even reads anything. He just sends it over to Mother Base. Remember the MGS-V companion app? This app allows you to look down at your phone, see your map, listen to your tapes, just like the iDroid. Kojima likes to break third walls, so what is he saying here? I think this is a commentary on how we get information today. You may be using an iPhone or an Android, but he's using an iDroid. I think Kojima's trying to say we shouldn't fully trust these devices, and that any doublespeak on these devices can become our doublethink. From the Great Library of Alexandria to the book burnings of World War II Germany, the powerful want to remove inconvenient information that threatens their power. Even though they burned books, books have survived. The information has been passed on. You can now get rid of this information with nobody even noticing, never needing a match. I believe MGSV exists in a fuzzy canon where what is actually happening is partly created in the mind, partly modified by the Patriots, and partly a retelling of past events, and a sort of pseudo-historical recreation.
Oh! Here she comes! Here she comes!
First, they're dependent on external power. Maybe because he built them knowing he couldn't leave his lab.
We hold our rifles in missing hands. We stand tall on missing legs.
Kill me! Kill me! I did it! Revenge!
Code Talker, haven't seen you eat a single thing since you got here. Let me guess. Photosynthesis? Oh?
Let's make room for the bomb. I removed organs she won't need.
In addition, they replaced the digestive organs she lost. And she receives carbohydrates through photosynthesis.
Most of my body is covered with parasites. I supply them with water, and in return I receive sugars they produce when exposed to light.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, this link's quiet with Code Talker.
Would you care to join me? A life spent never worrying about food is a most wonderful one.
Sorry, it's, hearing you say you don't need to eat and that you're part of nature in the same breath.
If Code Talker doesn't have a stomach, how does he digest food? He's not real.
She's one of the skulls. Hurry up and kill her.
No. Killing her would be a waste. Bring her back here. We tried communicating with her through writing, but that didn't work either. Whether she's illiterate, dyslexic, or just plain stubborn, she won't cooperate. I just don't get it.
She, refuses to wear clothes. The last staff member who tried to dress her breathing through tubes. Other than that, she's completely cooperative. She understands English. She never speaks, sweats, or breathes.
What?
Well, not with lungs, at least. She breathes through her skin. Clothing would suffocate her.
Your lungs have been barbecued. There's traces of rubbing alcohol in your alveoli. This was found adhered to your lungs, intact. A petal. White Star of Bethlehem.
The parasites compensated for her burnt epidermis and provide her blood with oxygen through cutaneous respiration instead of pulmonary respiration.
Clothing would suffocate her. She breathes through her skin.
Do you like what you see? I said, do you like what you see?
No way she's setting foot on this base! Boss! She's with Cypher!
I worked with a lot of clients in residential treatment who had been sexually abused and were essentially reenacting that by engaging in these really risky sexual behaviors with, unhealthy relationships. When the traumatic response gets frozen in time, the brain seems driven to repeat those experiences, to complete the story or get resolution by repeating it over and over again.
Remember how Chico said they killed her right in front of him? What if this is that, but with the context changed, and the delusion of her surviving exists?
Boss.
Payback for how they treated her?
But I told myself to focus on some hope, a non-existent hope, to guide me through this burning world.
So this leads to the fourth way that traumatic memories differ. So because the emotional brain takes over, traumatic memories often get stored as fragments of emotions and sensations, as blips of images and sounds, but not a cohesive story. When someone has PTSD, their memories often have large gaps. So regular memories are cohesive, right? They have a beginning and a middle and an end. But traumatic memories are often disorganized. So, for example, someone who survived a car crash, they might remember every detail of someone's face, but they can't remember who first helped them or how they got to the hospital.
Pequod, I can see you. I have a visual.
There you are, Ahab. Visual confirmed.
Pequod, hurry! This way.
I didn't know you could be so talkative, Quiet.
The boss is here. Hurry, Pequod. Please.
Where's Quiet?
We've got to go.
What happened to the woman? The woman? We gave her a light. She took the short way down. On your feet, soldier. The whole place is coming down.
We were primed to think that this is Psycho Mantis, but is it? This is not the third boy's name. This is literally just a Russian translation for the third boy. I understand he's not a part of Foxhound yet, but is he the same person?
The day the research facility holding Volgan burned down, a Soviet jumbo passenger jet happened to crash nearby, far away to the north of that hospital in Cyprus. On board the plane was a young boy who was being studied at the same facility. The plane fell to Earth from over 8,000 feet, but the boy's body was the only one not recovered. At almost exactly the same time as the crash, Volgan awoke in that facility. According to the Research Institute's documents, the gifts this boy demonstrated included psychokinesis and telepathy.
Now, I will show you why I am the most powerful practitioner of psychokinesis and telepathy in the world.
According to the report, the third boy was easily influenced by other individuals' biofields. Evil thoughts, in particular. They affected his mind like a virus. Extreme anger or resentment, motives for revenge, in other words.
I have a last request.
What is it?
My mask. Put it back on.
Okay.
Like this, other people's thoughts force their way into my mind. Before I die, I want to be by myself. I want to be left alone in my own world.
He wants to be left alone. The third boy's mask doesn't function the same way. Why isn't it working? Even Ocelot mentions this.
To protect his mind from being inundated with other people's thoughts, he always wore a kind of gas mask. A rudimentary form of psychic insulation, apparently.
Listen to this closely and you'll see that the fire doesn't come from Volgan at all.
His latent cognitive abilities suddenly awoke en route to Moscow. Now, during the transport flight to Moscow, the boy was exposed to a powerful mental energy field coming from a certain individual. So what kick-started the third boy's powers? If we look at the location and time that his plane went down, we can make a pretty good guess. When the plane experienced the first anomaly, it gave an accurate report of its position to a control tower, due north of the Black Sea, 125 miles east of Kiev. Dead south on the Black Sea is Cyprus's Green Line. So the plane's position was directly north of the hospital where you'd been asleep for 9 years. And this anomaly was reported at exactly the same time that you woke up. The plane was enveloped in flame from the inside out.
And you can see that somehow Mantis made the plane catch on fire, even though Volgan wasn't awakened yet.
The fuselage burnt to ashes. There were no survivors, at least not publicly admitted. Your thoughts formed a synchronicity with the boy's psyche and were amplified inside his brain. That would have been more than enough to trigger his abilities. Your rage was like a big bang in his head, blowing the lid off his powers. The boy was then secretly moved to the lab outside of Moscow where Volgin was comatose. There, Volgin's thoughts resonated with the boy and he was awakened. The boy parasitizing the man on fire's desire for revenge gave him his new abilities in return. The plane was enveloped in flame from the inside out.
All these characters waking at the same time is very suspicious. Vulcan has always been associated with electricity, not fire. But never mind that. Vulcan wasn't awakened yet, so how does the third boy have these powers? Doublethink.
You mentioned that the man on fire was crushed under Sahelanthropus in its hangar.
Yeah. He was caught under the wheels of its transport platform.
But his body wasn't found.
What?
We searched the area the moment we arrived, but there was no trace of him.
Poor girl kept calling your name. Meryl, stupid woman. Falling in love with a man who doesn't even have a name.
I have a name.
No! We have no past, no future, and even if we did, it wouldn't be truly ours. You and I are just copies of our father, Big Boss.
We've taken away his weapons and banned him from using his nom de guerre. Apparently his real name is Eli. He must feel like we stripped him of his whole identity.
So is this game VR, hallucinations, or nanomachines? That question entirely misses the point. In the MGS2, the player is meant to feel the same confusion about what is reality that Raiden feels. The roof of Arsenal Gear being the floor of the VR room wasn't meant to be taken literally. It's supposed to get you thinking about the nature of what you believe, to get you critically thinking about how you perceive the world and why you believe those things.
Rose, does she actually exist?
Of course I do, Jack. You have to believe.
Damn!
People report actually smelling during a memory or actually feeling the sensation of a memory. And these are sometimes called flashbacks. Now, studies show that for non-traumatized memories, like, for example, the birth of a child, people don't have such vivid memories. They don't, remember every little detail in full clarity, like how someone's face looked or the smell of a room. But with traumatic memories, there's the physical re-experiencing.
Why are there 3 flashback missions? I get the awakening and shining lights even in death. But why Diamond Dogs? It's a mission at the Mother Base management tutorial. Why is that important?
Our new Mother Base. I don't know how long it'll take, but I'll make it bigger.
Marker placed.
Remember how Paz's room wasn't real?
Like any organization, we need to make these
People report actually smelling during a memory.
Do you like what you see? I said, do you like what you see? It's like fruit. Does she look sweet or sour? A man has to know these things. Time for a taste test. Either you take her now, or you are strung up next.
It is swarming with flies. Is that sweet smell coming from the bodies?
Now, the third way that traumatic memories differ is that the passage of time is distorted. The memory doesn't feel like something in the past, it feels like something happening in the present moment, and the survivor re-enters the fight, flight, freeze mode.
Light them all up.
For more than 2.5 years, the wire service Reuters has been trying to find out what happened to their 2 staff members on this street in the suburb of New Baghdad. WikiLeaks says this is what happened.
Yep, he's got a weapon too. Hotel 26, Crazy Horse 18, have 5 to 6 individuals with AK-47s. We got an RPG.
All right, we got a guy with
The voice on the tape, presumably a member of the military, says there has been shooting in the area and receives permission to open fire.
Light them all up.
Come on, fire!
Hey, Roger. Keep shooting.
God damn it, Kyle.
All right. I hit him.
Oh yeah, look at those dead bastards.
Nice. 26, Crazy.
From a distance, you hear the voices on the tape watch as the wounded try to crawl to help. But when help arrives...
Come on, let us shoot.
You're engaged. 1-8, engaged. Clear.
Come on.
Clear.
Oh yeah, look at that, right through the windshield.
In this video, I think you see the corruption of pilots and the military by war itself, in particular by the modern nature of aerial warfare. So you see these young pilots acting like they're playing video games, only the high scores they are getting are with real human lives.
Wickle frequency. I just drove over a body. Yeah.
Even from high above, the harsh reality becomes evident as the troops that arrive find 2 children wounded. You see them carry their small bodies and call for help.
Hey, I need to get the brass to drop ramps. I got a wounded girl. We need to take the rest of mile.
The response on the tape...
Oh, it's their fault for bringing their kids to a battle.
That's right.
Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
For your opinion. You're insane, Snake. He was one of your men.
Boss!
You yourself said we're a family. Or was it all lies? Please, kill me, boss! Shooting your own men. That's not the big boss I knew.
Consider that these guys control all the information that Venom gets. Consider the fact that they've been lying to you. And consider that this game is an allusion to 9/11 America. What do you think these scenes mean?
A rumor, source unknown, had him convinced that the attack 9 years ago was orchestrated by you yourself.
You led XOF to the control tower.
Was Ralph really an accident? Or did Eli just rig it to stir up the boys? Either way, he had to have been planning for this all along. Bidding farewell to the world. We stride forward on the bones of our fallen. Then, and only then, are we alive. This pain is ours.
and no one else's. The secret weapon we wield, out of sight. We will be stronger than ever for our peace.
You know the hardest man to break. The type who's fooling himself. That takes time. It's easier to live a convenient lie than a painful truth. Is that the peace you've chosen, Doc? Changing your lies to suit the listener and getting by slipping through the cracks. Building layer upon layer of convenient stories until nothing means anything to you anymore. You're happy all the time because you don't even notice you're doing it. Think hard. Who are you really? You're not a victim, and you're not the silent majority. You're a perpetrator and a petty hypocrite. The real world doesn't make you suffer. It's the other way around.
In denial, you simply resort to looking for another, more convenient truth in order to make yourself feel better.
Leaving behind in an instant the so-called truth you once embraced.
Should someone like that be able to decide what is truth?
Sahelanthropus will unleash that thirst unto the future. Those were his last words.
Cause?
Pretentious to the end. Still, doesn't feel like this is over.
I've been working on this series for about a year now with probably 80% of my free time. This has been a never-ending obsession of mine, and I kind of want my life back. There are more leads here that I haven't pulled on yet, like soldier conversations. Where do walker ears fit in? And what is the reason we were shown OKB-0? And what does it have to do with this green smoke or fog? And does it relate to this scene?
What is that? No mistake, that's a snatcher.
I don't know, but I need to take a break. It's been real.
Stay away!
Pass!
There's another!
But you wouldn't want the girl leaving here alive. She'd have to be eliminated before he came. There's no other way.
But I told myself to focus on some hope, a non-existent hope, to guide me through this burning world.
I have not woken up at all. It is just a dream. It is all a dream.
We have a responsibility to the coming generations, to the world.
What responsibility?
To keep track of the mistakes we've made as a species.
We need to remember, to spread the word, to fight for change. And that's what keeps me alive.
You think you can change the future?
I'm not as arrogant as that.
I'm gonna make him give back our past.
Just one thing, Kaz. This isn't about the past. We're fighting for the future.
We need to pass the torch. And let our children read our messy and sad history by its light. We have all the magic of the digital age to do that with. The human race will probably come to an end sometime, and new species may rule over this planet. Earth may not be forever, but we still have the responsibility to leave what traces of life we can. Building the future and keeping the past alive are one and the same thing.